Hello and welcome to this week's Supply and Demand Forex Technical Analysis. My name's Leon Rowe, currency trader and trading coach at trading180.com. If you are new, welcome, and if you are returning, then welcome back, and I'm glad you returned. If you find this content useful, please like, subscribe, and share. And also the forex pairs are time stamped in the description box below, so you can skip to your favorite or chosen currency pairs, or you could just watch pretty much the whole video, which I would probably prefer you do if you are looking to increase your knowledge on supply and demand. So let's get into this week's analysis, and we always start off every week on the Dow Jones Dollar Index, right? And the Dow Jones Dollar Index is just a measure of the dollar's strength against the major currencies like the pound, the euro, and the yen, right? So what we would do is we'd look at this for pretty much confluence if we're looking to buy or sell the dollar, right? And then we'd look for either supply zones or demand zones on other currency pairs, right, like the dollar yen, dollar Swiss, etc., and look for confluence if this starts to turn around, as far as starts to react from this supply zone, and you want to be a seller of the dollar, then you'd be a seller on any of these other dollar crosses, currency pairs. So this is not financial advice, but I'm a buyer. I'm a bit of a bull on the Dow Jones with the dollar index and the dollar in general, right? So I'll be waiting for prices to really kind of either come back into this demand zone right here, or I'll be waiting for prices to make higher highs and then come back into a higher low area. Because if it makes a higher high and higher lows are areas of demand. Also, if you don't really understand what I'm talking about, if you go to the YouTube channel, I have plenty of content on how I draw my supply zones right here and demand zones. Also, if you want to know, let me scroll down a little bit. Where is it? Right here you have the introduction into supply and demand, right? So I'd suggest that everyone do watch that if you are new to supply and demand, and you'll understand my methodology on why higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows are the strongest areas of supply and demand. So getting back to the charts, so pretty much these are the scenarios that I'll be waiting for. If you are looking to sell, then you'd be looking for really some price action to kind of indicate that prices may potentially be going lower, and usually on lower time frames like the 4 hour. I don't trade really anything less than the 4 hour. So look for maybe some selling opportunities for price to turn around here, and then obviously go on to the dollar cross and look for some selling opportunities or some buying opportunities. So moving on to the dollar yen, and the dollar yen this week we did have some bullish price action. So again, if you go back to the dollar, so it was the 20th of November, dollar yen, right, 20th of November, you can see where we had this bullish price action in correlation to this major engulfing type candle, outside candle on the dollar index. And again, you just use that as confluence, as dollar strength, right? So it came down into this demand zone, and we've made move higher. So hopefully traders who are trading this are going to be looking for new highs to be made and pretty much ride the trend. For traders who are wondering about this blue box here, supply and demand technical analysis basics, it's pretty much just a basic way of looking at the market when looking to enter, right? So first of all, you determine supply and demand zones, and then we look at determining the supply and demand order equation, right? So what we're essentially doing is looking at the motives as to why there should be more supply or more demand in an area, right, or at a price zone, right, from a psychological perspective, right? So we trade supply and demand zones, and there are other traders who trade support, horizontal support and resistance, diagonal support and resistance, and dynamic support and resistance. And when you have, 1, 2, or 3 of these aligned, right, within certain areas of supply and demand, it adds to the supply and demand order equation. I have a video and some training on that, just going back to the free forex trading supply and demand order flow equation right here, which really dives into exactly what I cover right here. So for this week, pretty much you've maybe missed the boat a little bit if you didn't end up buying around here. So you'd be waiting for prices to come back down into this demand zone. I'd probably looking for something a bit further down. Preferred area would probably be, if we're looking to add some horizontal support and resistance, anywhere probably down into this 112 area or slightly lower, right? As we know that support and resistance traders will be entering at this area and looking at this price zone as an area to enter new trades or potentially take profit. If you're looking to be a seller, then again, you'd be waiting for prices to really come up into this zone right here before looking to enter to the short side. Moving on to the dollar Swiss. This week, again, we came down into this demand zone, kind of pierced through it a little bit into this demand zone, so we can kind of get rid of that one, right? And then we've had some bullish price action. So again, if we're looking to be buyers, probably looking for prices to come maybe a bit deeper into this demand zone before looking to get long. Or if prices continue higher, then this actually has created a new demand zone, right? As we've made higher highs, there's higher lows. Right, so this becomes now a demand zone. So you can wait for prices to potentially come back down into this 0.993, 992 level, and this would probably be like some sort of double bottom on a lower time frame. Right, you do have again the confluence of support and resistance. Right, horizontal. We've got resistance, support, so we're traders looking at this area here, right, as an area to look to get long. If you're looking to be a seller, then at the moment, the nearest area is going to be really all the way up here, unless prices create a new low, creating a lower high, and then again, this area here would become an area of supply, and you'd be waiting for prices to come back up before looking to get short. Moving on to the dollar CAD. So this week prices have kind of come up to the top of the range. We've had a reaction in this supply zone from last week, and then this week the CAD has been a bit weak. This is due to oil as well, and the Canadian dollar being quite highly correlated to the prices of oil, and dollar again being basically the best, the strongest currency out of the major currencies. So you've had some dollar strength coming up right into this higher area of supply before selling off. If you want to be a seller of the dollar and a buyer of the CAD, you're pretty much looking for prices to really return back up into here before looking to get short. If you're looking to get long, we're creating another demand zone right here as prices made a new high. So if you're looking to buy the dollar, it's going to be waiting for prices to really come down here. It's going to be your first option, right? And when you do get a cluster of demand zones, it might look a bit confusing or a bit cluttered. The best thing to do again is to add the supply and demand order equations to look for horizontal support and resistance, diagonal support and resistance, or dynamic support and resistance within these areas of demand. So first things first, I can kind of see there's going to be a couple of areas. One's going to be there, so we've got support, resistance, bit of support, right? Support and resistance around here. You've also got a bit of a level, probably I would say somewhere around there. Right, maybe a bit of a wider zone, right, within this area where you've got resistance, bit of support as well, resistance, support, right? So if prices do come down into this 1.315 area, right, this would be a decent buy, again just depending on if you think that the dollar is going to get stronger against the CAD, or the CAD is going to get stronger against the dollar, and you really kind of determine that through fundamental analysis, which is a free course, and the link is in the description box below. So in fact, let's take this a bit further, right, and do some analysis. So you've got some potential diagonal support, right, meaning that traders who trade potential trend lines are looking at this area here as well. Not quite within this area. We haven't got any diagonal support, right, but let's see if we have any dynamic support and resistance through the 21 and the 50 moving averages, which we do. The 21, right, is going to be within this demand zone, and we also have the 50s coming up as well. So if prices do come down, we could have some dynamic support within this area. So not only do you have value, right, from the demand zone, you're going to have other traders who trade these dynamic, horizontal and diagonal support and resistances, looking to add new trades or take profit from new trades. So net there should be some more demand at this area than supply from a technical analysis point of view, right? Again, not everything's always going to line up at a particular point, but if we do get one or two out of the three out of three would be brilliant, but 2 out of 3 is good. One out of the 3 is still good as well, right? So you do the same thing if you're looking to be a seller, probably more zoom out and see if there was anything from a selling perspective. But anyway, moving on to the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, right? Let's get rid of this. So this week we came up into this area here, a decent sell. Again, we've got some horizontal support within this area, resistance. So you've got support, resistance, a bit of resistance here. So it made sense, to potentially get short from last week within this area here, as we would have had traders entering new positions, right? And we will have value, previous value, from a supply and demand perspective. And you can see, you have to ask yourself, why is there going to be more demand right here? Who's buying at highs after prices have been making 4 days of bullish price action? Who's taking profit at trouble areas? It's an obvious level of support and resistance, as well as supply, right? Which is what we're mainly focused on, is value, right? Value comes first, and then comes the technical analysis and trading like everyone else trades. So if you did manage to get in short, then you should be into some profit, depending on obviously the time frame you've entered. If you're looking to be a buyer, you'd be looking for prices to really come down into this area here. We're actually made a lower low, so this now is becoming a supply zone. All right, so if we do get a move, actually, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make that into the supply zone. If we do get a move back up anywhere into this area here, right, then look to be a seller if you're looking to be a buyer of the US dollar. So this week, those are your options. And obviously, if prices come down here this week, then this is going to be a second area to be a buyer of the New Zealand dollar. Moving on to the pound dollar. The pound dollar this week has really just kind of gone sideways over the past, like I said, week. if you are looking to be a buyer of the pound, then this is really your option. But also, again, take into account the uncertainty around Brexit, and also the economic data as well regarding the pound. The pound isn't the UK economy isn't doing fantastic at the moment. If you're looking to be a buyer of the US dollar, then this is going to be the first area to look to get short around this 1.30 level. And that's pretty much all needs to be said for this currency pair at the moment. And again, just look for shorting opportunities if this doesn't work, and prices continue to go higher, because the pound, if there is some a breakthrough with potential agreements in Parliament, Theresa May, the European Union, etc., then you could have some positive sentiment come out for the pound, which would push prices probably past and through these supply zones. But when the dust settles and all is said and done, it still comes down to economic policies and principles. So I don't see the pound really strengthening based off of any kind of fundamental data. It'd probably be more to do with sentiment that would be a driver of pound strength. The dollar, again, still being the best or the strongest out of all of the major currencies when it comes to fundamental and macroeconomic data. Pound yen. Again, if you're looking to buy the yen against the pound, you'd be looking for prices to really come up into here before looking to get short. If you're looking to buy the pound, then prices need to come a bit lower before looking to get long. The yen is a risk currency. It benefits from a risk-off environment, meaning that when there's uncertainty in the world, then it pretty much money flows into the yen. So with talking about Brexit, you may want to not buy the pound. You may want to look to buy the yen, right? If there's a lot of uncertainty around Brexit, the yen should strengthen. So in the short term, maybe prices come up here, but then there's some negative news that comes out regarding the pound. The yen is going to be the currency to buy. And again, always apply the supply and demand technical analysis basics to your trades. Euro dollar. So euro dollar, I am in this trade. Did a bit of some analysis from last week. You can check out the video, and managed to get in on it was this candle here. I was going to do the risk reward, but it was this candle here. Nice outside candle, right, at a level of supply. Excuse me. And now up, I think, over maybe about a 2-to-1. If you are in this trade with me, then I would say the first area you're probably looking to take profit potentially is going to be at this area here of where you've got support, and we should have potentially some support here, right? If you think that, you consider traders like myself who were in from up here, where are we looking to take profit? We're going to look to take profit at trouble areas, right? And if I sold up here, right, I'm going to zoom in, matter of fact, to my trading time frame, right? If I got in short up here and I'm already up a 2-to-1, right, then I'm going to be looking to take profit anywhere around this 330 level down into maybe the 1.13 areas, the round number. I don't want to be left necessarily holding the bag. What I mean by that is other traders getting out before me, before prices tend to reverse. And as you can see, prices don't always go in a straight line, right? So you had a pullback, prices go down. So what am I expecting to happen? Prices to potentially pull back at some point this week, right? So if I do want to get out, now is potentially a decent time to look to take profits and maybe re-enter if prices do come up into a created supply zone. Right, or for those of you who do strongly believe that the dollar is going to continue to strengthen over the euro and the euro is going to weaken, then what we're doing is projecting into the future, right? So what I mean by that is we know that there's potentially going to be or the likelihood there's going to be a pullback is going to happen, right, around this area. So if that does happen, right, then don't get scared. We don't look at our profit and loss account and look to see that what we could have made, right? If we're projecting into the future and we're projecting prices to come down here, then we expect this pullback to happen. We just continue to hold. If you want to move your stop loss to break even or half, it's up to you, right? Just to protect what you do have, right? And we're expecting something like this to happen eventually. It could happen like that. It could happen, like this, right? But however it happens, we still have to have faith in our targets, right? Unless something, again, from a sentiment perspective happens, or a fundamental perspective happens, right, which weakens the dollar and strengthens the euro, then you just be looking to potentially just take your profits and re-enter at some point, right? But those are your two options at the moment. Either take profit around here, right, or at the lows, and the lows really represent potentially, for me anyway, I think maybe about a 5-to-1 type trade. So I'm yet decided on whether I should take profit at the moment or around here. Yeah, I guess I'll decide. But again, just for you guys watching, those are the things to consider, and this is really how you kind of just manage trades. And whatever decision you do decide to take, if you do take profits around this area and prices do go lower, don't feel that I should have taken profits earlier. Be comfortable, right, and be just accept that you made some profits, and there's always going to be trades in the future. There's always going to be opportunities to get back in if prices even do go lower and they create a new supply zone, etc., right? Anyways, getting back to the daily analysis, if prices do come down into this area here, then you're looking at a potential buy, right? If you're looking to buy the euro and take advantage of some profit taking from dollar bulls who are looking to definitely take profit around here. So there should be some demand. If we sold up here, then you have to buy to exit, right? Moving on to the euro yen. Euro yen's pretty much just gone sideways, all right? So again, if we're looking to be buyers anywhere within this zone of the euro, if we're looking to be buyers of the yen, we'll be looking for prices to really come back up to this area here. And again, just keep in mind that the yen is a risk-off currency, so if there is some potentially bad news for the euro, then this would be the currency pair to buy, right? As far as the yen would be the currency to buy and the currency to kind of short and look for any shorting opportunities that occur. Euro pound's come up into this supply zone and reacted. So again, if we're looking for prices, to come back up into this area here before looking to get short, if you believe that the pound is going to get stronger against the euro, if you think the euro is going to get stronger than the pound, then really this is the area down here. You have to wait for prices to really come all the way down here before looking to potentially get long. Again, this is going to be quite a volatile pair and really based off of a lot of sentiment. So be careful when trading this currency pair, as news announcements, statements are really driving prices of this currency pair. Aussie dollar, again, we've come up into this supply zone last week and then sold off. So right now we're reacting to this demand zone, if you do want to be a buyer of the Australian dollar, probably wait for prices to maybe come down a bit more into this 72 round number or just below it before looking to get long. There is an area of support and resistance within that area. You can see where you've got support, resistance, resistance, support, resistance, bit of support here. So if prices do come down into this area or just even below, all right, you've got another area right here where you've got, again, support, support, resistance, some support. So down to this 0.716 area as well. If you want to be a buyer of the Australian dollar, if you want to be a buyer of the US dollar, then you're looking at prices really coming up into this area here before looking to get short. You can see where within that supply zone there was quite a wide area, if you want to draw it like this, of support and resistance. So you got support, support, resistance, resistance. You can see where prices did react around here, right? So prices again may react here if you're looking to get short on this currency pair. If you're looking to get long, these are pretty much your areas. Again, just go down into intraday time frames and look for buying or selling opportunities. And finally, the Aussie yen. I did draw this last week as an area of demand. It wasn't necessarily the strongest area of demand, but I did anyway, as prices did react here. We did have prices, kind of close below, but also come back in. So that's, for me, that's probably some sort of some sort of stop hunt on a lower time frame. But demand is holding anyway, all right? So if you are looking to be a buyer, again, this is the area to look for buying opportunities. If you're looking to sell, we have touched this area several times, right? So just be careful if you are looking to sell at this point, simply because the more times the level is touched, the weaker it becomes. Probably be more inclined to get short if I was looking to, short the Australian dollar, buy the Japanese yen at probably an area just above this area. Personally, if I'm looking to buy the Aussie, I'll be waiting for prices really to kind of break to new highs before and create a new, demand zone, and prove that this is an area of strong demand before looking to get back into this area right here. Or if prices do potentially break down, then this is a decent area to look to get long. And again, you do have some horizontal support and resistance. If you're looking at that area there where you have support, bit of support and resistance, support and resistance here, resistance, resistance, resistance. So if prices do come down here, then you're looking at being a buyer, right, at a discount. And again, if you're looking at this being the low, this being the high, the low being a cheap area, right, for the Australian dollar, you're buying. Well, and obviously the high being an expensive area for the dollar, because you're buying really an expensive area below fair value, which is 50%. This would represent a decent buy, very good buy for the Australian dollar if we can get down here. And again, if risk is on, by the way, risk on environment, meaning that the Australian dollar would do well. If you're buying any of the risk on currencies like the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, the New Zealand dollar as well, what you want to do is keep your eye on the stock market, and especially with the Canadian dollar, keep your eye on oil prices. If oil prices start to reverse, then the Canadian dollar should strengthen. But with the Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, you want to look for the stock markets to be positive as well before looking to enter a long trade as some confluence and just a gauge of sentiment. So that's the conclusion of our weekly supply and demand analysis. If you do have any questions, just email me at info@trading180.com or leave a comment in the section box below. Again, if you've liked this, please subscribe and share. It really helps. And I hope you have a great trading week. Until the next video. Take care. So if you'd like to receive the best supply and demand Forex levels absolutely free, click on the link in the description box below, enter your email address, and we'll send you the levels that we have just analyzed in this video. You'll get all of the major Forex currency pairs, and you'll get regular updates and never miss a Forex trading opportunity.